Well, we had an epic battle here. Won't go down as a classic when it came to games that people rave about, but Limerick certainly won't mind.
They won't, and it's funny enough, the kind of games I love, because I know the semi-final, the Limerick Cork one was one of the great games of I suppose any era, because of the pure amount of scores. But I thought today was brilliant for intensity, work rate, attacking but defending as well. There's a lot of remarks going around about the wides that happened there today, but I think a lot of that was to do with the pressure the defence and the midfielders were putting them under. And I just thought Limerick, the reason they're champions is they went out like they were playing their back gardens. They didn't know that they hadn't won an All-Ireland in 73. They didn't realise that this might be their only chance of winning an All-Ireland final. They just went out and played as if they're in their back gardens, and they got the rewards in the end.
They really did, and even though the fact that it nearly got stolen away from them. I think it's 68th minute Galway were behind by 8 and they began clawing back one by one, especially with Joe Canning, who was immense. It nearly could have gone to a draw.
It could have, yeah, and I wouldn't mind, I was after being on the radio and when Shane Dowling put that ball in the back of the net, I said, game over. I told all off the ball that the game was over, and suddenly they came back Galway, and that's what champions do, you see. They have the confidence of the previous year of playing through tight matches and getting over the line. And Canning was immense in that second half. He stood up when the game needed someone to take a bit of scruff of the neck. He definitely did it for Galway, and Pádraig Mannion as well, I thought. And when he buried that free into the top corner, it was game on, and next minute he scores another free and had that chance. It wasn't even a half chance, it was kind of a tenth of a chance, if you like. That last, I'd say, it was from 100 yards, and as well it was out past his own 65, but it was also on the sideline, so that throws in another few yards into it. So really you can't have anything only pride for that Galway team, because the game was over and they did not let themselves down here today, but things, they just weren't flowing.
I think it was around the 50th minute I turned to you and I said, at what point, if you were from Galway, would you start panicking? And you kind of said, well, maybe around now. But credit to both sides. Limerick didn't lose the head when they had that much of a lead, and Galway didn't lose the head despite the fact they were clawing back. They had to fight so hard for everything they got.
Exactly, and that's why I think we were looking forward to this final so much. I wasn't so much worried about what kind of a start either team got, because I knew what was in the stomachs of these lads. So I knew nothing would face them, and that proved the case today. And you take Galway came back, right? They had it back to a point, but then Limerick showed their mettle again. And I thought Peter Casey, he won I think he took a ball off on the Galway players out here on the sideline, and Graham Mulcahy ended up putting the ball over the bar to put him 2 points up. And if he hadn't have done that, and Peter Casey has been playing well all year coming on, they wouldn't be All-Ireland champions. So I thought if you go back and look at the forced errors that Limerick made Galway do, I'd say there was a lot of scores happened because of it.
When Limerick obviously now are the champions, the trophy goes down into the dressing rooms, there's huge scenes. I could hear the noise coming out of it. They were singing along to Westlife numbers and things like that. They're really going to enjoy it. Now, as a Kilkenny man, you know what that feels like, but I'd imagine perhaps what they feel is not just celebration, but probably some relief as well.
Yeah, well, I think they're too young and they're too early on the road to have any sort of relief, because I think they don't know any losses. Their disappointment last year was in an All-Ireland, was it a first round kind of a qualifier against Kilkenny in Nolan Park, which is tough, but still doesn't have the same hangover that you would have losing an All-Ireland semi-final, an All-Ireland final. So these guys haven't seen any of that yet. So I'd say probably the relief they have is that they're 8 points up maybe with a few minutes to go and nearly lost it. But I think excitement will be the real emotions that they will be feeling.
There's mixed huge emotions, excitement, celebration, joy. When we look back on the game as well, I presume it actually proves what everybody's been saying. It's never easy to win in All-Ireland, but especially in this year's championship and probably in the next few years to come, you can't actually predict now who'll be in the final.
No, and it was probably the most brilliant championship we've ever had, because there were so many teams fighting that could have been in the final. Even talking to one or two of the Kilkenny lads that were up for the minor team, they're saying, listen, we were that close to beating the All-Ireland champions. There was a draw match in 72 minutes, so everyone feels like they have a chance. I was talking to one of the reporters out there, Michael Verney there, and he was just saying that when about 2 or 3 minutes to go, when there was only a few points in it, there was a Limerick man behind him crying, because he felt we're going to throw it away and Limerick are going to come back and beat. It's like 1994 maybe that the lead we're going to let it slip. And he said he nearly even started crying looking at it. And so I think we're just going to see incredible scenes below in Limerick tonight, tomorrow, and probably for the rest of the winter. And when we watch, I suppose, the All-Star dues, when we see maybe the Late Show, a few of them might be on that, newspaper interviews, it's going to be a remarkable winter for these guys. And what I would say is enjoy it. Like, these days, although they're young, you never know when they'll happen again. So I'd be saying to the young lads, go and enjoy it. Keep your head as in focus on next year, all right, and have that in the back of your mind at all times. But enjoy it, because that's why we play hurling at the end of the day.
I know now you're probably going to go home, get the notebook out, and you're going to already start thinking now, geez, who would I have as my hurler of the year, and overlooking the championship and your All-Stars. Probably a bit early yet because there's a lot of absorption to be done yet, but off the top of your head, I'd imagine the hurler of the year definitely was playing here today for you anyway.
Yeah, he was definitely playing here today. I'd say on the Galway side, you'd be definitely looking at Daithí Burke, Joe Canning and Pádraig Mannion. I thought they were just incredible all year, and today when Galway needed players to stand up, them three boys in particular were brilliant. Carl Mannion had a fabulous year as well. On the Limerick side then, it's probably not as straightforward because it was such a team effort, but you'd be imagining the likes of Declan Hannon will be in it, Cian Lynch will be in it, Kyle Hayes, who gave one of the great All-Ireland final performances here today, both defending and attacking. I'd say he will probably walk away with the man of the match. Just a few minutes after the final whistle, I'd be feeling that. Graham Mulcahy was brilliant. So I'd have to go back nearly. There were so many games, like you only can remember the last one or two. So I'd like to go back maybe and look at the games from the minute they played their first championship game against Tipperary in the Gaelic grounds, and maybe assess it maybe with a bit more learning.
Finally, when the dust settles on today, if you had any advice for the likes of Galway now to have to try and bounce back from that over the winter, is there any good way of doing it?
I'd say forget about it as quick as you can and get straight back into the club scene, because that's what you need when you're playing at the top. You need a memory like a goldfish. Don't remember these losses at all, and go back out the next day then and just enjoy your hurling again. So listen, it's going to be a tough winter when they see all the celebrations in Limerick, but listen, they know what it's like. They were there this time last year, so it might freshen them up. And Miel O'Donoghue will look at a few of the 21s and maybe the minors that were playing here today, and the future is definitely bright for Galway. The monkey is off their backs. They were incredible champions, and they proved that here today by their resilience and their work ethic and the way they came back into it when the game wasn't flowing for them. Like, they hit a team in form, a Limerick kind of a team that haven't won it since 1973, who needed a bit of luck. And so I'd say to Galway, just listen, forget about it as quick as you can and back up, and they were great champions.